like to hear some stories today. I'm Miss Elaine from the Easter Hout Free Library, and I'm really excited because spring is here. Yay! Finally, it's spring. So I brought some spring stories, and the first one is called Hooray for Hoppy. And it's a spring story where our little friend Hoppy that we're going to meet uses all 5 of his senses. Now, do you know what your 5 senses are? Let's just go over them so we all know for sure. Your senses are, and there's 5 of them. One is sight, your eyes seeing. The second one is ears and hearing. The third one is your nose and smelling. And the next one is your mouth, where you taste. That's another sense. And the last sense is touch. Feeling, touch. So we have seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touch. Okay, let's see how Hoppy uses those 5 senses to find out about spring. It's called Hooray for Hoppy. It's written and illustrated by Tim Hopgood and published by Farrar, Straus, and Giroux. There's our friend Hoppy. Hoppy woke up bright and early. He wiggled his nose and sniffed the air. Perhaps today's the day, he thought. But as he hopped to the top of his hole, he saw that the world was covered in snow. Oh, too cold, he said. And so he hopped back down into his hole. Back to bed. The next morning, when Hoppy hopped to the top of his hole, his nose felt cold and the grass felt crunchy. Too icy, said Hoppy, and he hopped back to bed again. I think there's like frost on the grass, right? That makes it crunchy and icy. A few days later, Hoppy woke up much earlier than usual. Perhaps today's the day, he thought, and Hoppy twitched his nose, and he could smell the air smelled fresh. And perhaps today really is the day that spring arrives. And Hoppy hopped down the hill to see if it was true. And what do we see? Do you see some signs of spring there? I sure do. Hooray, said Hoppy as he heard the birds singing. It sounds like spring has sprung. The birds are singing happy songs. That's a sign, right? You can hear that. Hooray, said Hoppy as he sniffed all the pretty flowers that were growing. It smells like spring has sprung. Smell the nice smell of fresh flowers. Hooray, said Hoppy as he watched the lambs in the meadow. It looks like spring has sprung. That's when baby sheep are born, right? The lambs in the spring. Hooray, said Hoppy as he nibbled some fresh green grass. It tastes like spring has sprung. Oh, bunnies like to nibble grass, especially fresh grass. Hip, hip, hooray, said Hoppy as his feet touched the warm ground. It even feels like spring has sprung. Oh, he feels the ground isn't cold and icy. It's nice and warm. Today really is the day, thought Hoppy. He couldn't wait to see his friends. But when he reached the top of the hill, nobody was there. So he thumped his back feet as hard as he could and as loud as he possibly could. He's up there looking for his friends, and they're not there. So he thumped his feet. Oh my. Do you see some of his friends now? Look at all those bunnies. Hooray, shouted all the rabbits as Hoppy leaped through high in the air. Spring had definitely and most wonderfully sprung. Hoppy sure looks happy, doesn't he? And what were those 5 senses that he used? Do you remember how he used them? First, hearing. What did he hear? He heard the birds singing. And what did he smell? He could smell the pretty fresh flowers. And what did he see? He saw lambs running through the meadow. What did he taste? He nibbled some of that fresh green grass, and then he touched the warm earth with his feet. And that's how he knew that spring was here. And there's the sun shining. Whoops, flowers blooming. Because it's spring. Just like we're going to see pretty soon as things start to warm up more. Our next book is kind of a special book because it is called In Spring, and it's also called En Primavera. This book is in English and in Spanish, so we're going to read both. And spring, the word for spring is primavera in Spanish. So let's read our little book called In Spring En Primavera, written by Susana Medina Beitia Manso, and the pictures, the photos, illustrated by Emily Hanako Momahara, and it's published by Blue Manatee Press. And it says, in spring, rainbows paint the sky. I want to paint like a rainbow. Don't you think I'd make a good rainbow? His hands look like rainbows, don't they? En primavera, los arco iris pintan al cielo. Quiero pintar como un arco iris. ¿A qué sería un buen arco iris? In spring, seeds grow. I want to grow like a seed. Don't you think I make a good seed? He's growing, see? And just like a seed starts out very small and slowly starts to grow and grow and grow till you have a big plant. And en primavera, las semillas crecen. Quiero crecer como una semilla. ¿A qué sería una buena semilla? In spring, bunnies hop. I want to hop like a bunny. Don't you think I make a good bunny? En primavera, los conejitos saltan. Quiero saltar como un conejito. ¿A qué sería un buen conejito? In spring, puddles splash. I want to splash like a puddle. Don't you think I make a good puddle? En primavera, los charcos salpican. Quiero salpicar como un charco. ¿A qué sería un buen charco? In spring, tulips bloom. I want to bloom like a tulip. Don't you think I make a good tulip? En primavera, los tulipanes florecen. Quiero florecer como un tulipán. ¿A qué sería un buen tulipán? In spring, birds sing. I want to sing like a bird. Don't you think I make a good bird? They're both singing, aren't they? En primavera, los pajaritos cantan. Quiero cantar como un pajarito. ¿A qué sería un buen pajarito? I like spring. How about you? What do you like about spring? Me gusta la primavera. ¿Y a ti? ¿Qué te gusta de la primavera? And something to think about. What are the things you like about spring? Watching flowers bloom, hearing birds sing, maybe seeing bunnies hop or hopping like a bunny yourself. So, that's in spring and primavera. Speaking of bunnies, I have some bunnies that I made, and I'm going to show you how I make some too. Here's some of the bunnies I made, and in just a minute we'll do a little rhyme with our bunnies. But first, let me show you how to make some yourself. Grab my paper here, and we'll just put the paper here. And so, if you want to draw a bunny, let's see. Let's start out with just a circle. Which way should we do this? Let's go this way. We'll do a circle here. There's one circle. Let's make one a little smaller on top. Kind of looks like something else we might have drawn in the winter time, right? Looking like a snowman. But we're going to change that. So we have our 2 circles. Now let's do some really tall, long, sort of almost like triangle shapes on top. 1, 2. Now are we looking more like a bunny? I think so. Our bunny needs a face, doesn't he? Let's give him 2 eyes. I'll just do 2 round circles for eyes. And a little triangle for a nose, an upside down triangle like that. There's his little nose. And let's give him a little smile. Just a smile on this side and on this side. There's our smiling bunny. Bunnies have whiskers too, don't forget. Let's give him 3 little whiskers. 1, 2, 3. And the same thing on this side. 1, 2, 3. There's our whiskers. Now, let's give him some paws. I'm just going to do sort of like a half of an oval. Not a circle, but like an oval. Those are going to be his paws. And I just put little lines here to show his little, I don't know, fingers or whatever. There's that. And I think he should have some feet. So we're going to do little oval shapes. Oval, almost like an egg, maybe a little longer. And we'll do those same little marks on his feet, like we did on his paws. And that's our bunny. He's all done. You could color him in. You could add a little pink on him, on his ears, and whatever you want to do. There's one bunny. Now another way to make a bunny is using the first letter in the word bunny. What's the first letter in bunny? Is, of course, a B. Now to make our B into a bunny, we're going to do another big, tall, sort of, not quite triangle. And next to it, let's put one that's sort of hiding behind that one. So we're going to do another one, kind of like that. Because we're looking at him from the side. We're not looking straight at his face. We're looking at, he's down to the side. So since he's sideways, he just needs one eye. The other eye's over on the other side that we can't see. And just do about half a triangle for his nose. Okay, now I got a nose. I'm just going to give him a little smile here coming off that, because he's a happy bunny, I hope. Give him a couple of those whiskers, just one set of whiskers. And now, how should we do his feet? Let's do a little foot down here. Something like that. There's a foot and a little paw up here. And there's our chubby little bunny. So we have a bee bunny and a round circle bunny. And I'll show you the bunnies I made before. But now you can make some of your own. And we're going to do a little rhyme with these bunnies. Let me get them together here. There they are. I have 5 fingers, but I'm only using 4 of them right now. So there's our bunnies that we made with a bee. I made a purple one and a green one. And here's our other bunnies. I gave this one a little carrot to hold because he looked hungry. And this one's just plain. And you can color them any color you want. And the rhyme we're going to do is one that you know, I think. I bet you know about 5 little monkeys jumping on the bed. But today we have bunnies. And you know what bunnies do? They jump, but we're going to say they hop, right? You always see bunnies hopping, like our first story about Hoppy the bunny. So, and since we don't have 5, we'll start with 4. Ready? You can use fingers for now till you make your own bunnies. 4 little bunnies hopping on the bed. Ready? 4 little bunnies hopping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, "No more bunnies hopping on the bed." Now there are still 3 little bunnies hopping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, "No more bunnies hopping on the bed." 2 little bunnies hopping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, "No more bunnies hopping on the bed." 1 little bunny hopping on the bed. He fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor. The doctor said, "No more bunnies hopping on the bed." And that's what you can do when you make your own bunnies. Or you could do something else with them. Make them big or small, however you want. I have one last quick story, and it's about hopping, but it's not bunnies hopping this time. It's two kitties, and it's called It's Spring. This is by Elsie Homeland Minaric, and the pictures are by Margaret Bloy Graham. That's published by Green Willow Books. It's spring. We got the watering can ready for the flowers. Looks like they're doing some gardening. And off go those little kitties on an adventure. Let's see what they're going to do. There they go. Pit and Pat were very giddy. It's spring, said Pit. Spring, 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 said Pat. I feel so happy I could jump over a tulip, said Pit. I could jump over a bush, said Pat. Well, I could jump over a tree, said Pit. I could jump over a house, said Pat. I could jump over an island, said Pit. I could jump over a mountain, said Pat. Well, I could jump over the moon, said Pit. Guess what Pat's going to jump over? I could jump over the sun, said Pat. I'll just jump over you, said Pit to Pat. And then I'll jump over you, said Pat to Pit. So they jumped over each other all through the tulips and the daffodils and the pretty little violets. Oh, all those pretty flowers blooming because it was spring. And pretty soon we're going to see all those pretty flowers blooming. Maybe feel like jumping too. So, thanks for listening. Those are our spring stories. Don't forget to make yourself some little bunnies that can hop around. Mine are all stuck together now. Okay, have a happy spring. Thanks. Bye.